Great Brak River is deemed to be an ecologically important estuary in South Africa as a whole. There's quite a significant dam that was built upstream about 30 years ago. And that's blocked the flow of water down to the estuary. The long story short is what we have now, is what you can see behind me here, is an accumulation of sand that's flowed down from the stream and been pushed in from the sea. It basically blocks the river mouth. So we don't have any flow on the river, there's no fresh water coming down from the dam, and there's no tidal exchange between the ocean and the river. So the river actually is very stagnant, it's environmentally in very poor health, and what we've come together to do is working together with the municipality and the other environmental agencies to facilitate the removal of some of this sediment and the excavation of a new larger river channel that will stay open for a much longer period of time, so that we get a proper influx of tidal water, we get rid of some of this algae and accumulated biomass that's in the river now that should not be here. We get freshly oxygenated water, and ultimately the aim is to be able to do that in September as opposed to the holiday season, but September is the correct time of year after the winter rains. And that's because this river or this estuary basin functions as a nursery for fish breeding. So the hatchlings come in from the ocean around about the equinox, so sort of end of September, and they grow to maturity in this river basin. So we're talking about garrick, steenbras, those sort of types of fish. So the idea of SERAG as an organisation, as an NPC, is to fund that excavation of sand and the opening of the river channel. We're now working with the municipality and then the other agencies involved in no particular order, but you have Cape Nature, Western Cape Government Department of Environmental Affairs, CSIR, who do the research on the river, and DWS Department of Water. So all those agencies have a mix in the management of the river. Mossel Bay municipality is facilitating an opening of the river mouth, so some of the excavation work. But they don't have the budgets to allow for the removal of all the sand that needs to be taken away, and so we're raising money privately to facilitate that. So that sand removal will take place ahead of the river mouth opening, or that's what the plan is. And then when the channel is carved through the sand, through the river, it will then stay open for much longer because it's not being carved through a deep sort of mountain of sand in the first place. Well, the prep work is essentially to start trimming this sand berm. We have to get the necessary permissions from the various agencies, so that's predominantly Western Cape Government Department of Environment. If they give authority for the plan, which will be proposed by the municipality, as soon as we have that, then we can all sort of kick into gear. Then obviously the municipality will appoint a contractor with the relevant machinery and so on, and the manpower to start moving the sand, and then they must come up with a sort of plan of how they're going to do it, basically for the civil engineering work, the tipper trucks that will put the sand back in the sea or behind the dunes or whatever it may be. And our job will be essentially to facilitate the private aspect of that, the removal of the sand prior to the river mouth opening. The proposed date for the river mouth opening is the 17th of November, which is around about the spring tide, so that's a good time for it to happen. But I'm not saying specifically on that date, that's the planned date. It might shift a day or two either way, but it's there or thereabouts. SERAG has already funded quite a lot of work, so in order to produce the new documentation, which is a paper called the Environmental Mouth Management Plan, there's a new version of that's been privately funded. There's some ongoing research into the quality of biodiversity in the river. It's called a Present Ecological State Survey. That's been privately funded by SERAG as well. So all that is anyway ongoing. So we've committed funds to this journey and we're continuing to commit funds, but we absolutely appeal to the wider audience. Our website is serag.org.za. All the details are on there. We need help, we need assistance, we need people to put a hand in their pocket and help us remove this accumulated sediment and sand. It's not free, it needs the community to pull together to assist.